in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. That like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK, born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope soul.
What?
Dope soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, a member of the MBK family. Got a lot to talk about today. I don't know how this is going to go over, but I was looking at the Knicks in the standings. They're 9-9, about where a lot of us thought, they would be. A lot of us Knicks fans, because we're watching them game in and game out, quarter in, quarter out, play in, play out. We kind of looking at them with, there's certain things that they really need to work on. I'm not quite sure this is a playoff team, but since the start of the season, the Knicks have never been out of the top 10. Now, I know it's early, but they have never been outside of the top 10, despite all of the struggles that they've had this season. And right now, Miami and Chicago is on the outside, looking in. Things are going to balance themselves out as the season goes on. But I'm wondering, are we being too hypercritical of the team this early in the season? And if there's still more potential, are we short selling this team based on what we've seen early? Is there still an opportunity for them to shore up some things and become more of a playoff team? We're going to talk about that today. I'm going to bring in, Jerrell Staffer. So I got D from D's World of Hoops. I got resident panelist Jerrell and Staffer Don. How are you fellas doing?
Salute, I'm blessed. Can't complain. I'm good.
Right. Salute to everybody in the chat.
Salute to the chat. I appreciate you being patient with me. I'm gonna see how far I can get. I'm gonna see how far I can get. But we got some experienced panelists. So if for whatever reason I get knocked off by the internet or whatever, everybody here has experience with content creation and manning the show. So I'm not worried at all. Anyway, let's just start a little bit just talking about this last week before we get into this topic. This last week of the Knicks. That was a strong introduction. Like, should we just hop right into it? All right, let's hop right into it. We can get into the other stuff later. Listen, the Knicks are not playing well defensively. We know that. Their perimeter defense needs to improve. Their transition defense needs to improve. There's certain players that are not playing up to their level. There's other players that if they were to play up to their level, the team would be playing much better right now. All of that being said, the Knicks are right in the thick of things. Are we being hypercritical of the team? Are we underselling the team in terms of what their potential could be this season? I'll start with you, D, Jerrell, then Staffer. And then we'll check in with the chat.
It's a good one. I like that. I'm going to say that it depends where your expectations are. And I think depending where your expectations are will determine the number of your temperature at the moment in time. Mm-hmm. I would say that for me personally, I think we're at where I thought we'll be at. Right. And I think we're going to forever remain this way. If it's 1 or 2 games above 500, if it's 1 or 2 or 3 games below 500, that's where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I'm not expecting anything jumping out of the window of any type of championship contention. I don't see a second round type of playoff appearance with this team. I mean, by my metric, I don't even see a play-in. But even if there was a play-in, even if you do make the first round, I would heavily question, could you gather 2 or 3 wins in that first round? Mm-hmm. And that kind of tells me the metric of where the team is at. You're in player acquisition mode. You're still searching for the guy. You're still searching for that right type of chemistry in order to elevate the organization to where it needs to get to the next level, which is to compete at a high level in the Eastern Conference. I think that would be where it's at the moment if you are taking baby steps. I don't see this roster there right now like that. I think where we're beating the teams we're supposed to beat. When we go against far superior teams, more elite teams of this league, you see the difference is night and day. So can we evolve and grow into a team that's able to compete at a better level with those elite teams this season? Absolutely. That's not out of the realm of possibility by no way, shape, form, or fashion. But at this moment in time, they have a long way to go, at least by my metric, to see that they could compete on a night-to-night basis. That's where I'm at right now. Can you compete at a night-to-night basis no matter who's on the schedule that night? So I'll temper my expectations. I'm going to stay right there in the middle. I have about 35, 36, 37, 38 wins, and I'm going to stick to my guns so far.
Right. But I think what you're saying is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I think that there is room for this particular team to play better. Like, I think there's room for RJ to play better. There's room for Quickley to play better. There's room for the other players on our team to play better. There's room for the chemistry to get better. There's room for the defense to get better. And this is what I mean by short selling the team, is by thinking that how they're playing now is how they're going to play for the rest of the season. And I get you. If how they're playing now is how they're going to play for the rest of the season, yeah, I still see more than 36, 37, but not much more. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking that there is a possibility. Like, when I think about that team 2 years ago, they got to a point where the whole was better than the sum of the parts, right? They got to that part where you looked at the individual players on this team. It's like, I can't even imagine how we're playing, the way, we're playing. But at certain point between defense and chemistry, they were able to gel and play much better. I think that is still a possibility for this team. And we're watching the Knicks game in and game out. The Knicks aren't the only team struggling in this Eastern Conference by any stretch. And Sherwin, I appreciate you. You always rocking with us. To say that at this point, Charlotte is better than the Knicks. Charlotte, over their last 10 games, has been 1-9. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. But Charlotte, come on. Anyway, I'm gonna go into Jerrell and Stafford. Basically, is there potential in this team? Are we selling them short just based on what we're seeing so far?
I'm gonna keep it short because I pretty much agree with everything D said. Yeah, I'm not sure where this team is going, man. We're like too inconsistent. Like, we're right in the middle of the road. Good thing for us, though. Well, I don't know if it is a good thing, but being in the middle of the road still can actually get us in the playoffs. But I don't necessarily know if that's a good or bad thing, because I don't think if we do get into the play-in or if we do get into the playoffs, I don't know. I don't see anything past like a first-round exit for us. Like, I just don't see it. And the teams that are, struggling just like we are, I have more faith in them to turn it around. Like, I have faith that Miami is going to turn it around. They're not going to miss the playoffs. I don't see that at all. Unless it's some type of big injury that they have, I don't see them missing the playoffs at all. And there's a couple other teams like that too. I didn't really look at the standings. Or at least I forgot the standings. But I know Miami is one of those teams that's struggling. I don't expect us to be as good as Miami come like after the All-Star break to contend for that last spot. So I don't know. It's kind of hard. Like, we're in the middle of the road, and that's a terrible place to be in.
Right. I mean, the only thing I'll say to that, and I'll let Stafford go. No matter what team you're building, at some point, you're never going to go from being out of the playoffs to being a championship contender. It's just not going to happen like that. It's going to be step by step, piece by piece, right? You're going to go from, I don't know, the 11th, to the 8th, to the 6. I mean, I don't know, it's not exactly like that, but the point is, this is how it goes. You look at your team, they play the season out, you make your changes in the off season, you make a trade or whatever, and then you take the next step. So no matter what direction the Knicks go in, this is how it's going to be. But I hear what you're saying about being more confident in the talent that Miami has over being confident in the talent that the Knicks have. Staffer?
I mean, Jerrell, I don't see a problem with being in the middle because coming into the season, we never expected this team to make a championship run. We just expect this team to improve and see if we could try to make either a playoff spot or a play-in spot. So being in the middle and see where we at right now, 9-9, is not a bad thing because people expected us to go 0-5 on this trip. People expected not to see Tom Thibodeau flying back on the plane back to New York for Friday night's game at Portland. So overall, when we had the expectations of the team earlier in the season, all of us said at least between 10 and 7. And if the team was to everything was to gel, as Queen would say, it would be a 6 seed. So I have to echo the same sentiments as what D said earlier. We are where we are, right? We are 9-9. We didn't expect, as I said, to go for a championship this year, but we're improving, and there is room for improvement. It's just 18 games in the season. We still have more to go. We just hit the quarter mark. We still got more games to go. So my expectations are still the same. Between a 7 and a 10. So I'm not surprised where we at right now. People, may probably take it how we was talking about shocking the world early in the season, but we had us to bring down, come back to reality and really see who this team is. And right now we're just a 500 team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to bring this up. I appreciate you, Keith Turner, for rocking with us, and rocking with us a lot. Why would you even want to make the play? And what's the point if we're not winning at all? I mean, it's step by step, piece by piece. Philly didn't go from being out of the playoffs to boom, being championship contenders. They had to work their way up. Milwaukee had to work, their way up. It can't be, where you build a team and you just keep them in the stable and you let them out only when you're at championship contending. When you're a championship contender, you have to play the games. You have to get better. Now, what I will agree with is getting to the playoffs. To me, getting to the playoffs and it's just about seeing what we have. That's really what it is. I don't see this team getting past the first round. Right. I'm not. How many games is this team going to win? In the playoffs. But I'm not the one that would say because you're not going to win games in the playoffs, you shouldn't want to go. At some point, you have to try to win games and you have to see where you are and you have to build on that. Not to just go to the playoffs, lose, and stay right there. But you have to build on it, whether that's through trades, whether that's through free agency, whether that's through the draft. You have to build off of it and see, and see where you are. I want to see Brunson in the playoffs. I want to see RJ in the playoffs. I want to see, IQ and Obi in the play. Like, I want to see what do we have? What do we need, to build on that, to build off of that? Who needs to go? What do we need to bring in? You learn that in the you learn it in the regular season as well, but you learn it in the playoffs also. I think the Knicks have, whether we agree with it or not, this is the direction that they've chosen. They're going to start with these players and they're going to build, trade, they're going to try to get better, but they're starting with these players. This is the direction that they've chosen. And I do think that there is some potential in this team as it's presently constructed. But there's a few things that need to happen in order to get the best out of them. Anybody else want to comment on what Keith Turner said, or anything else that's coming up for you?
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, yes. We're listening.
Let's go.
What's good, y'all? What's good?
We good. Welcome.
Oh, staff is here too. What's good, y'all?
What's up? Go ahead, D.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you wanted Evil to get in on the top. Okay, my fault.
Yeah, I didn't mean to come in and mess up the flow, man. I just, I come here and hang out.
Messing up everything.
He just came in. I thought I let him build and cook a little bit, but okay, no doubt. Oh no, just real quick. What Keith said is that I can understand the gloom and doom and pessimism that people have within the current regime because, for example, right, you mentioned Philadelphia and you mentioned Milwaukee, right? The difference between that process and this process is that there was already young stallions. We don't possess young stallions. So therefore, it seems like it has an expiration date. And therefore, which is fine, that's okay that happens. But then the thing becomes that when the expiration date comes, where are you going?
What do you mean by expiration date?
Oh, that the fact like this current regime and roster as we have it, I don't see it lasting more than 2 years. So I'm saying that when that 2 years comes about, right, it's like, okay, where are we going? And if we're going where I think we're going to go, why didn't we just go there to begin with? Instead of, kind of like putting a shot in the dark and putting, your chips in on RJ Barrett and Julius Randle and stuff of that nature. I think that's where the growing pessimism might grow or the divide might grow from that thinking.
What's going to happen in 2 years? Like, do you think RJ and Randle and these players won't be here in 2 years?
I think it's a large possibility.
Yeah.
And if they're leaving, because they're under contract, it's going to be because they traded them, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. But I would think that they're going to trade them, hopefully, to try to get, as a package, to try to get something better. Are you saying they're going to trade them for something worse?
What I'm saying, I mean, it depends on the next regime that comes in, right? Because if those decisions have to be made, that means the present front office is not in service. So it depends what they want to do when they come in, because they could come in and say, hey, look, listen, I didn't draft these guys. This is not my type of roster. The coach that I want to bring in doesn't philosophize these type of systems and stuff like that. So they may want to go in a different direction. Now, if you have a guy that does believe in some of the horses there still would be changes made currently because it didn't work the last time for the last couple of years. Right. And let's be honest, the Julius Randle, RJ Barrett tandem is at year 4. Right. So at that time, if we're looking into the future, we're looking at year 6. I think we should have a very good assessment at that time where that tandem is.
Right. So the question I will ask you, right? I have no problem with what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. I have no problem. But do you think Dolan will want that rebuild as far as bringing in a new regime and starting everything from scratch? Would you think that he will want to start from scratch?
Yeah. I don't want to be in Dolan's
because we have never seen it in our lifetime.
No, I hear you. And neither have I seen the other things that we want either. So, and the only thing I have seen is Patrick Ewing being drafted as the first overall pick and that being built around that. Now, we could go ahead and critique how that building was, but it still worked because they were championship contending for a decade. So my point is that I don't want to be in the mind of James Dolan, but what I will say is that I go off patterns and evidences that I've seen within his ownership in 23 years. He hires the same types of guys. And shout out to Prof, a guy that did the draft show. He brought this perspective to me, and that he hires the same types of guys every time. So therefore, it's like a fugazi. Like, first year, it's about development. Oh, okay, we go ahead, we get some draft picks, right? And in year 2, we might be leaning there, and then all of a sudden it shifts between year 2 and year 3. And then all of a sudden the process is abandoned. So that's to your point, Steph. It has never been done. So to answer your question, is Joine going to do that? I think based off evidences and patterns for 23 years now.
Right. But this is what I'll say, and we've talked about this before. Patrick Ewing, we got Patrick Ewing by luck. Like the Knicks got Patrick Ewing because they were bad and they went into the lottery and they got the number 1 pick.
Frozen envelope.
The Milwaukee got Giannis. What did they do to get Giannis?
Scout.
Nah, they did. You cannot tell me because he wouldn't have. Because he wouldn't have
But-
lasted till
but-
13.
Their hands together.
But Queen, but he was number 15. He wasn't even in the lottery. He was the number 15 pick.
That's the point I'm trying to
Right,
make.
right.
We're acting like these other teams did something special. They didn't do
Okay,
anything
okay.
special. They just went into the lottery and they happened to pick a guy that became the number 1 pick. The same draft that Milwaukee was in, the same draft that Golden State was in, the same draft that Memphis was in, New York was in.
Mm-hmm.
New York was in that same draft. They just didn't pick the player that turned into a star.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about this, we're talking about it like Milwaukee and Golden State and these guys did something real special. They didn't do anything special. They picked a guy who turned into a star. Had the Knicks picked a guy, had Knox turned into a star, that would have changed the trajectory of this team. Had Frank Ntilikina turned into a star, that would have changed the trajectory of the team. The Knicks were in the lottery. The Knicks were in the first round. The only difference between us and them was who we picked, right? And when you look at these stars in the league, oh, we need to tank real hard because all of the stars are in the top 5. It's not true. You got stars in this league that's all up and down the first round.
Yep.
So for me, I don't think it's that the Knicks need to do anything different other than pick different. Other than stop playing with the basketball guards. We doing something totally wrong that we cannot pick a player that turns into somebody.
Yep.
Giannis came into this league looking like who is this guy?
Twig.
That is true.
And now he's the Greek freak. Steph Curry, when he came into the league, was is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? He played at Davidson.
Is he a bust because of the injuries?
Right. Bam.
That's true.
Top 75 player to ever play the game. Or at least he was voted that way. So all I'm saying, I'm not trying to, the Knicks as an organization have made mistakes, but we're acting like these other teams have done something really special when the only thing they've done was hit on the draft pick. So you can go into the lottery for 25 straight years, and it seems like the Knicks have. But if you don't hit on that draft pick, what does it matter?
We've definitely had good enough picks to pick a lot of stars, and we just haven't. Like, we're historically bad at drafting.
But
Paris
Steph,
Duggar, they did their homework on Giannis, but you cannot tell me that they thought Giannis was going to be this because he would have went first in
nobody
that
knew
draft.
that.
No doubt. Come on. He would have went first.
But Steph, I will give you some friendly pushback here. Do you think that there's a science and there's an understanding as to how the draft process goes? I know you're going to say yeah. So, and knowing that there is a process as to like what certain players you're looking for, certain types. It's kind of like you're on survival mode, right? And then they give you a choice. You have a gun, you have a knife, right? You have a bazooka, and you have a banana, right? And then from that, you choose exactly what percentage of your survival rate is going to be best based on what you pick. And that's no different than the draft, where it's like you have a system in place. That's why system, identity, philosophy, ideology, that stuff's very important because you're picking out the guy that fits exactly what that is. Now, some people will say, oh, well, you just get a star to go ahead and get a star. But I guarantee that when you go ahead and interview players to see who they are, you think they're not tested to see if they got a pit bull mentality? They're not tested to see to go ahead, how would they act through adversity, through beef to another teammate, or paparazzi, or too much, or finances of them getting $5-6 million in their first year. They're testing all those type of things to see what fits. Now, are they doing a good job with it? No, I don't think they are. And I think they just pick a lot of talent and potential and just bring it in and say, okay, the rest will work out. But I think that's why a lot of players bust inside the draft. But I think there is a science to it, though.
I'm not saying there's not a science, but I'm saying that when it comes to picking the stars, there's no way that that you know that. So I agree with you. The Knicks haven't done great in drafting. I'm talking about players that's going to change the trajectory of your franchise. A lot of times, once in a lifetime, you'll have a franchise-altering number one pick, like a LeBron or like Zion, like those type of players where you really want to be at the number one pick so you can have a chance at a guy like that. But most of those other drafts, it's just a guy coming out in Donovan Mitchell, the Joker, Kawhi. Like these guys are just coming out of nowhere. So I'm not trying to throw the Knicks front offices any bail. They have not drafted well. But let's not act like Golden State had some secret in getting Steph Curry. Like they just drafted him and he turned into that.
Minnesota drafted like 3 point guards before Steph Curry.
Yeah, they drafted 5 point guards total that draft. They drafted 5 point guards that year.
Right, Golden State got lucky, and we was just
and Golden State was the New York Knicks of the West prior to Steph Curry in this championship regime. They hadn't won a championship since what, 76 or what, whenever that was.
Since Rick Barry was there, right?
How much did Mark Jackson have to do with Steph Curry becoming the player he is today?
I mean, I think he was a part of it. I don't think it was all of it.
Yeah, part, but yeah, Steph was going to be. I think Steph was going to be great regardless.
Steph was going to be this.
Yeah, at least I thought so. I thought Steph was going to be the man.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to give a coach credit for a player becoming a superstar.
Okay, I can see that.
I mean, it's just hard for me to give a coach credit for that. Yeah. But go ahead, E-Rule.
Well,
let me read this. Let me read this. Wow, the chat is, but the super chat is like all of, like I can't even find it now. Did I start?
You started, right? Yeah, you started.
Yeah, I did. Okay, all right. Paris Duggar, appreciate you. Salute Queen and the panel. We're in such a great situation with draft capital and a lead guy in Brunson. I ignore the negative takes of what that means. I mean, if you ask me right now, Brunson is the best player on the Knicks. And if the Knicks are going to build, obviously if a superstar comes up, all hands on deck, including Brunson. But other than that, Brunson stays and if you can upgrade at any other position, depending on what comes along, you do it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I agree with Paris Duggar. We have all these draft picks. We haven't really messed up the cap so much. Even though these guys, we sign these guys all this money, they're still movable contracts. They're not like 40 million and stuff like that. So, aside from like building rosters and stuff, like there's many ways to go about this. Do the draft. We absolutely need to get that number one guy. But I mean, since we haven't been able to hit one, there's other ways to build the roster, to get to where you need to go. I mean, you could bring up different teams. Like, of course, the Detroit team, people bring that up because it was just basically a ragtag group of guys, put together. But you look at, say, like a team like Boston, they already had Paul Pierce. He became who he was. They almost got rid of Paul Pierce. But, Danny H held on a little bit, was able to trade some of the other draft picks and people that, assets that they had to get Ray Allen there, trade some more assets to get KG there. Now, all of a sudden, you're a perennial all-star team. And you got lucky and drafted Randle. So now you have the perfect storm. So with all these champions, even with Giannis was the star, but I mean he had nobody else with him that was drafted on the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if Middleton was drafted, but the point I'm trying to make is that you have to get the perfect storm together when you're talking about draft picks and just accumulating assets, and then at the right time we got Brunson. Maybe Julius Randle could be that guy, but add somebody else to the mix. We drafted RJ. Maybe RJ's not the guy. Maybe we put him together with somebody else to get another person here. And then we just keep playing this game. We got draft picks. Maybe we'll hit on some of these new ones coming up. But the thing is to keep the ball rolling. So when it does happen, when the storm happens, everybody like, wow, look what happened with the Knicks. And that's exactly what happened with all these other teams. Detroit, look what happened to Detroit. Wow, look what happened with the Bucks. Oh, how did the Lakers get Kobe? You know what I'm saying? It's just a perfect storm that needs to keep smoldering. We just can't sit on our hands like Leon Rose and these guys are doing.
I mean, and and Miami as well.
Yes.
Miami traded for Butler. So I agree with you. There's different ways to build a team. If you can build it through the draft, do it. But I don't. If for whatever reason you're not hitting in the draft, I just don't think you just keep staying. And I just don't think you just stop trying to build your team because you're not hitting in the draft. And the Knicks have not been hitting in the draft.
Well, you bring up a big point with Miami. Miami, they drafted Beasley. They already had my man what's his name Wade. They already had Wade, but then they drafted Beasley. But then they ended up trading Beasley. They had Oldham and stuff. Before you know it, they went and got Walker and a bunch of other ragtag guys, and they won the championship. A couple years later, everybody's gone. LeBron is there. You have to keep that ball rolling. It's always constantly moving. It's like everyone's stuck on these certain plays that we have. You're not gonna have them down the line. Depending on what goes on, what opportunities we have to be aggressive because you never know what's gonna be the next move. You keep it smoldering.
Right. And keep it in. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that there's different ways to build a championship, team for sure. Any other
real quick, to Dee's point about the in 2 years this team might be different. It's absolutely true because the front office contract is actually coming up, and that is like after next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
if they make it,
and
as this year,
we also have to extend a couple players that we've drafted as well. So Obi and IQ has to get extended at the same time. Like they were 2 first-round picks, so we have to extend both of them right after Cam this year. If we do get him, next year is Obi and IQ. Then right after that is Grimes and Deuce.
And this is what I'm saying about the players who the Knicks have locked themselves into at this point. Randle, RJ, Mitch, and there's another one, Brunson. That's who the Knicks have paid almost $400 million to, and I think that's on the front office. They gambled, that Randle would continue. They gambled. I don't know if they thought he would be, have another All NBA season, but they, gambled that he would be worth his contract and that he would, play well for them. They gambled on RJ, and right now the return, they're losing the gamble, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, they lost the gamble as soon as they drafted Obi and signed Julius Randle. That was their first draft pick. And he hasn't been able to get on the floor yet. Well, at least start and have major minutes. So
they put out their own fire,
Right. I said it before, like this is their third year, and they haven't drafted a starter yet. Starter, not star.
Right.
Well, that too.
Yeah, they haven't drafted a starter yet.
Hello, Eddie from Costa
Eddie,
Rica.
Let's go, Eddie C.
Nah, he's probably coming in.
Oh, he's not in yet?
He in, but I'm, maybe I could connect to something.
All right, let's get to the chat. Canal Ben Lloyd, RJ not getting paid. He's not getting paid yet, but he signed a contract. He got the money. Ain't nothing we can do about it. So he may not be.
Yeah, that bad coming.
That
bad coming.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Marcus Miller, I believe we are still laying a foundation in year 3 about defense. The players don't make the culture. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But you got to set the culture and you got to get the players that are consistent with your culture. And say what you want to say about Tibbs, whether you like him or not. If you're going to hire him, get him his players.
Yep.
Get him his players. Let him go down with his players. Don't bring in players that don't fit. Right now we got resources like Fournier on the bench, not playing.
kicked our own self in the foot with that, because shout out to Bullock. We wanted him gone. We wanted the other guy whose name I would not say, Mr. EP. We wanted EP out of here. But the thing with that is that defense was what was doing so well for us. But we decided to get Kemba Walker and Fournier. So now we shot ourselves in the foot. Now look at Fournier's about to be out of here. Kemba Walker's already gone. So that we basically reset ourselves for no reason. And now we're in the same spot where defense is what's going to be our bread and butter. And now we're here stuck with our hands, sitting on our hands, where we should have made a deal to get Donovan here, double down on defense on the other positions, and then we would have been in the right path. But now we're just stuck in the water now, Something has to be done. Something has to be done to like you said, to build with Tom Thibodeau, what he has here, build our culture. We want to play defense. We want athletic wings. We want to shoot threes. So what are we doing about it?
Yeah. Kerry Cox, I trade Grimes before trading IQ. Wow. Pudge Nice, Obi will get paid. IQ getting traded. Nick Nation 112, we need to stop the narrative about Knox. Obi is here and has not done anything but won a dunk contest, but we killed Knox. He was rookie of the He was rookie of the month under Fizdale. That is no longer coaching in the NBA. I'm sorry. I can't get on the Kevin Knox train. I'm sorry.
Fantastic though. I love listening to that. That was cool.
I can't get on that train.
That was a cool story.
There's a super chat I'm trying to get to. Shout out to J Boogie. Appreciate you. Actually about to play his video in a bit. Bartender sent another round for the panel. Best holiday besides birth is Thanksgiving. Enjoy family every day. Appreciate everybody, especially those you haven't seen in a long time. Blessings to all the cooks and the food.
Word.
In advance.
Word.
In advance. Agreed, Steph. I believe they are overvaluing Jules' defense as a power. I can't imagine that they was overvaluing his defense, but I know they thought that he would be a better player than he is. IQ is a solid player so long as he doesn't shoot at all. He is like 10 for 300 from deep.
Not at
IQ
all.
is Tibbs' player.
Not at all.
What's that, like 3% from three shooting?
Right. OG Anunoby. I wish we had an opportunity to get. I mean, he's been injured. He's been injured. But talking about a two-way player. Go ahead, Tom.
I'm just gonna say, to be honest, I'm not sure if I want OG now, just because he's so injury prone.
Yeah,
I would take the chance.
But talent wise,
take the chance.
Don't get me wrong, talent wise, I would love to have him on this team. But yeah, injury wise and the contract that he has, he's going to get an extension. I don't know when his contract is coming up, but
his contract is just like 17 million. Yeah. I don't think he's making a lot.
It's exactly like 20 years contract.
How many years he has left?
I'm not sure. But I would extend him. To me, I like OG Anunoby better than I like RJ Barrett. And it's not even close.
Well, some cages with that one.
I'm pretty sure you'll have everybody agree with that stuff. I'm just talking about injury wise. Everybody don't agree with that. But I'm just talking about injury wise.
You seen him play? Like he's a two-way player.
Yes.
He has moves you can go to. He can post up. He can do a lot of things.
The thing is that Toronto will not just take RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby.
Oh no.
You gotta attach first round picks. You gotta attach Grimes. You gotta attach you know what I'm saying? He's a player.
I don't know about all of that. And the Carnival Cruise line too, probably.
I would not give OG. I would not give up OG for RJ Grimes and a first round pick. Then we talking.
If you were Toronto, I think that's a bit too much.
Right. If I'm Toronto, I mean, but that's
a bit too much.
But that's the price, right? Like if I'm Toronto, that's what I'm wanting.
RJ in the first. Well, I can see that, Steph, because if you're saying they're going to trade it for more than RJ, it's going to be RJ and what? It will have to be a first. Yeah, it will have to be a first.
He said Grimes in the first.
I said RJ Grimes in the first.
Oh, RJ Grimes and a first. Oh,
and to be totally honest, they'll probably ask for more than that at the beginning so they can even get down to something like that.
Nah, not with his injury history. Like that's your card. That's your card. Not with that injury
superstar history. Like that possibly giving up all of those assets. I mean, RJ
Well, you got to look at it from a standpoint of negotiation. You always start. I mean, right, Danny Ainge, right? You always start off super high,
that is
so
true.
You can get down to something where you'll be like, I'm willing to do this.
That's true. Like that. That's what they're starting. He's saying that's what they're starting asking price is going to be. That makes sense.
No, he said they're going to start higher to wither down.
Wither
down.
I am saying that. Yeah, they're going to start higher to get to that certain point, and then that's where the negotiation will be pulling, tuck and pull. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we really going to get? Like, what do we really want? How does this going? Is this getting down to the trade deadline? Do we really want to get rid of OG?
It's interesting.
Anunoby's at 17.3 this year, 18.6 next year, and a player option in 24-25 at 19.9, and then unrestricted free agent.
Right. Okay.
So 2 years, basically.
2 years, yeah.
Kind of like Donovan Mitchell. He's got what, this year, next year, and then he's got a player option in the third, right?
Right. I think so. And he's going to opt out of that probably.
And he's definitely going to opt out of that.
Well, the contract is almost identical to Fournier's. Fournier has a player option in 2024-25 season. Same thing, kind of.
And to Jerrell's point, rookie season 62 games, next season only 6 games. No, I'm sorry, 74, then 67, then 69, then 43, then 48, and then 17 this year. So he hasn't played over 69 games in about 2 seasons almost.
But one of them was the shortened season, though.
Correct.
And you also have to account that Toronto Raptors are that team that rests players because they do that sort of thing. Like, if the what's his name, Siakam has a toenail injury, they're going to sit him just because.
Yeah. They're a dangerous team, too, because they have a lot of assets, and they're waiting to make that move. You know, so I don't know if they're looking at RJ Barrett. I think they might be looking a little higher. You know,
I wouldn't. If I'm Toronto, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can see them looking at RJ Barrett.
Because he's from Canada?
Yeah, they will be.
Not you, Jury. You ain't going to pull that over his, you know.
Yeah, that's Ujiri is one of the slickest GMs out there in the whole NBA league. Like he's really cunning. You know what I'm saying? You are not gonna pull the wool over Ujiri's eyes. Never.
Right. I don't think he's slick. I think he's a very good GM. Like people use like negative pejoratives on like good GMs. He's a good, solid GM. He knows what he wants. He knows what he doesn't want, and you know. He's gonna try to bully you if you let him.
I didn't know slick was a negative. I didn't know slick was a negative adjective.
Well, slick and cunning sounds almost like, you know.
But
but that's what it is. That's what it is. Like Danny Ainge is the same. He's slick and he's cunning. You know, those are good adjectives. Those are like, you're supposed to be like that when you're a GM.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, let's take this break. Let's get to the premiere of JBOOGIE'S video. He's dropping an album. I'm not sure of the exact date. A lot of the songs, if not all of the songs, are Knick related. And this is the official video. First time being seen, premiered right here for one of the songs on his album called The Biggest. So let's play it right now, and then we'll get back to talking Knicks.
I heard a rumor. This guy right here, JBOOGIE, presenting Knicks in the booth is gonna be fire.
Hey. They say we everywhere. We all over the place. If you don't see us, that means you ain't nowhere. You heard? headline of the city, the post paper, the daily paper, everywhere in the city. Knick Chronicles, baby. Let's get it. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. It's game time, tell them, yeah, we outside. You know my voice, the young Mr. Wall Clyde. They say this year we blessed, this some new hope. I'm courtside next to Tracy Morgan Road. We so official, every game is sold out. You see the fan stars, them carpets rolled out. I'm on this track, NBA, no bleach report. Don't even ask for a short, this ain't a Newport. Flash report, tell them this is just in. You see Max outside, just don't let him in. I walk the streets every day with some grown men. I go left, cross back like I'm Brunson. Who that is? Boogie, I'm so nice. I need a little bit more than yesterday's price. When you see him, you tell him, your boy, I'm locked in. I'm well surrounded with fans, we in the garden. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see him, you tell him they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see him, you tell him they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. If you ain't orange or blue, then you can't relate. I had them toxic boys that air your Twitter space. A lot of people right now, they on clickbait. I had your forehead looking like your Stephen A. All the real creators be on the podcast. Take a look at the chat, you get my broadcast. The forecast was scattered with a lot of rain. My floor poison, pill jerk by Danny Ainge. New squad, new season, it's a new team. Shout out to Harlem Girl and Miss Geraldine. Play the youth, the kids, they gon' play hard. For 4 years, I just signed a 9 guard. The way we look right now, this a Nick thing. I might bring with the flow, so this here bang. Shout out the real ones that'll stay loyal. All the Nets fans, we know it's disloyal. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you come to the city and play for the Knicks, you're gonna get the biggest and most appreciated love. We the best people it is in the world that's gonna support our squad, support our team, you dig? We the biggest.
New York Knicks, we are the biggest. This is Jen from Knicks Army fans, and I want to let you know right now, if you didn't know before, New York Knicks, we the biggest, baby. Let's go. Go.
Crazy. Crazy.
Ain't nobody trying to talk about no Julius Randle after that. That was fire, JBOOGIE. Salute, bro. That was fire.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Can't wait from the album. I mean, I know you're in the chat, so let us know when the album is dropping.
That was fire, man.
Man, I almost flipped the table, man. It will get making me scream right now after hearing that joint, man. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Shout out JBOOGIE.
Salute JBOOGIE, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, that was dope.
Yeah, that definitely was dope.
We got to go from that to talk about like Mitch rebounding and stuff like that. Like,
I'm about to freestyle. You talking about?
We're about to ask Steph to beatbox.
About to start doing something. You know, man. That was dope.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah. All right, I think I'm going to do something different. I think I'm going to open up the panel.
Uh-oh.
I didn't give you guys a heads up though, but if you guys wanted to lead with a question that you have for the panel, you don't have to. But if you have a question that you want to ask the panel, this is your time.
I got a question. How confident
I do too. After Jerrell, I want to ask a question.
Okay. All right.
How confident are you in this front office?
Oh, Jesus. We've already I can't. We've been through this on Knicks and Bruises. I can't tell you how many times. But go ahead. I'll let the rest of the panel talk.
I guess I'm asking the question because since we do say like we're inconsistent, we're a middle of the road team, so we don't plan on being too high or too low. So with the front office, if everything is going to stay the same, How does that work?
Yep. Who wants to answer?
Come on, man, just do something. You know what I'm saying? We just do something.
You poke it with a stick. Do something.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like people train, people train to do martial arts and stuff like that. What are you training for? Like you training for like a war or something like that. Guys got all these guns in their houses and stuff. What are you stockpiling for? You're doing nothing with none of that stuff. But that's what I'm thinking with the Leon Rose. He's stockpiling draft picks. We got this, all these movable contracts. Man, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Right.
That's my thing with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough question for me because, this is why I say that's a tough question for me. Because, like, if you go into this year's draft, and even if you like 18, right? But let's say you got to pick at 18, and you pick the right guy, like that guy can turn into somebody sustainable, like somebody that could really turn into something. Especially this, I'm talking about just this draft in particular. This draft is like different. And if they're gonna do it the way that they've been doing it, like contracts that are low contracts that you can get the most value from, that's the way I would do it. But you just gotta hit, and if you don't hit, then it goes back to what just Eru said. It's like, yo, what are we doing, right? But if you hit, then it's like, because we might be able to get 3 picks in this draft. And one of them 3 can hit, and then you got a stud, in quotations, on a sizable contract. Then you're doing things. You know what I'm saying? So that's a tough question for me because of that in particular. That's it. But besides that, if it wasn't a draft like this one, I would be. If it was like last year's draft, then I'm saying something different.
See, the thing with last year's draft, Eddie, even though I do agree with you 100%, but even with last year's draft, the one that just happened, we could have and should have, at least I thought my favorite player was Jalen, right? We talked about this multiple times. I believe it was Steph's favorite player in the draft also. Youngest player in the draft, and he's already coming off the bench and averaging almost 8 rebounds a game. He just turned 19. So it's not, even if we do have the picks, I don't know if this front office have the wherewithal to pick the right players going forward.
The thing with that is
you don't trust them to pick the right
Yeah,
player. Even though we have 3 picks coming up, you don't trust that they would. Okay.
I don't trust them at all.
The thing with that is Jalen Duren is draft in this draft is what? Like, let's say Jalen Duren was in this draft. He's not even 13. He's probably like 20.
Yeah, but we will have that pick still, though. Like, we have 3 picks. So one of those picks is going to be around that area.
Yeah,
so
I feel you with that.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you with that. But when it comes to that type of position, you're talking to the wrong guy because I'm not really a center guy.
Okay.
I'm more of a wing, point guard. We got to get that solidified before we get I mean, in Tankathon you go right now, and we're getting like Waylon there, whatever. I really don't know his name, but some center for Oregon who's a really good player. But we got 3 centers on our team, bro.
Well,
if we got 3 centers, maybe we don't have even.
I'm about to say that means we don't have any. To be honest, it's just like with football when they say you have 2 quarterbacks, you really don't have any.
So it's like so then you're gonna get a 4th center, or you rather take a chance on a wing who's probably not as talented as the center, but just for the way the league is, right? So. That's the thing right there.
That's gonna be tough, man. Especially with even with the roster that we have, bringing 2 or 3 other draft picks in here, I don't see it.
Well, you got to think about this: Rose, Evan Fournier. That's 2 right there. So you gotta fulfill those spots. I think Derrick Rose is on an expiring contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you have to attach let's say that you have to attach a Washington Wizards pick for Fournier to get off Fournier, that's 2 spots. That leaves you with 2 picks to take those 2 spots, which is, you know, I'm assuming that if Dallas Mavericks pick is 22, 23, 24, that kid is probably going to be better than what we have with Evan Fournier at this point in time.
He might be better than a lot of players on our bench. I mean, it's hard for me to attach a first round pick to get rid of a player. Like that's, to me, that's a tough sell for me.
Because you're slick and cunning. because that's me too. Like, because we're slick and cunning, we would never do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to be in the room to really like see, is it really worth it, even if it's if it's something that you don't want to do.
Right. Let me get to the super chat. And D, you had to, it looked like you had something to say. I might be wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
J Boogie, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. I will be dropping 3 tracks and the biggest video next month with a remix of Back on Christmas headlining featuring Papa Left and Cully.
Oh, word.
Album drop after the trade deadline. United Masters, all platforms.
Dope.
All platforms.
All right.
Cully is nice. I like Cully a lot. Papa Left is dope too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 dope dudes, yo.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't wait, Paris Jugger. Yo, J Boogie, we're the biggest. All right.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. Let me just read a few of these and then we get to you. Greg, who said Leon is collecting them like baseball cards.
Draft picks.
Yeah. But at some points, some people collect baseball cards. They don't trade them.
Yo,
right?
but back in the days, we used to flip baseball cards, man. Flip the baseball cards to gamble and stuff. You got to do what you got to do to get what you want, man. You got to do something.
Like we have 3 first round picks and already do like a 10, 11 man rotation. Like I just don't see it, man. I see Tibbs having a heart attack if we drafted 3 players, man. I don't see that at all. I just don't
turn
see
in
it.
his papers, right? Put in his
Right.
You can also trade the picks in the draft to get a higher draft pick.
You could do that. Let me just read this.
That's true.
Marcus Miller, look where we started and where we are now. Whole picture. This front office got us in a much better position than the prior joint. We are currently flexible enough to tank or keep it pushing. Yeah.
So Jerrell, what was the 2 questions you asked? Because you asked a couple of questions.
Did I? I said, what was the your current? Well, I already know your answer. You kind of like me. You want everybody. You want this kind of tore down, right? Like you want the regime to be over, right? You want, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I already knew. Yeah, well, I saw you when you did the thumbs down.
Okay.
I knew your feelings of the front office. We kind of share the feelings with the front office. That's why I asked the question in the first place. I think a lot of people, or we talk about the players and Tibbs so much that I don't think Leon Rose get enough bars as he should.
Yeah, I mean, Josh is in the chat. Shout out to Josh, who thinks that it's only been 3 years, so they should get more time. For me, I've seen enough. They've done some good things. I like that they've kept us flexible going forward. When I bought my house, the lady who lived before me, she left some oil in the tank for me. I thought that was really nice, So, when the front office leaves, they leave a flexible cap for the next office, just like they had when they came in, right? Because Steve Mills and them didn't have to do this 1-year contract. You can argue that it hurt us in some respects in terms of continuity, but it did keep that cap flexible. And they inherited that. And just like I'm going to pass on the heat when I sell my house, the oil, they're going to pass on that flexibility to the next, front office. That being said, this is a results-driven league. Mm-hmm. And when they came in and they sat with Dolan, I'm sure they sold him on a plan. And you cannot tell me this was the plan.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me this was the plan. And you say what we want to say about Donovan Mitchell, whether we agreed with the trade or didn't agree with the trade. This was their plan. This was the front office plan to collect assets, and when a star became available, to go for it.
Mm-hmm. and
they didn't close, in my opinion.
Nope.
That's it. It's a results-driven league.
But my question to that is, did they have the asses to close?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they
They had the
ass.
They had the draft capital.
They chose not to.
Right.
And to me, that's where I'm still sticking with them, because, man, it's hard to okay, what happens, man? I don't know. Like, it looks good right now, right? Like, Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland looks really good right now, right?
It doesn't have to be Cleveland. It could have been anybody.
No,
You
but
know?
I'm not really talking about Cleveland. I'm talking about Donovan, right?
No, I understand what I'm saying. It didn't have to be Donovan. It could have been anybody. Murray was available. Did you even make a call? Or was you so stuck on Brunson that when somebody else came available, you couldn't pivot?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't think it was that, because it didn't. Brunson was not something that was altering their decisions. Like, they have that. Brunson was totally separate from what they could have done. The thing is, like, this kid Murray, right? Like, he has 2 years too. And who's to say that he's gonna opt out of his contract and he's gonna want a big contract? And who knows if Atlanta's gonna give him that big contract? Who knows if he wants to stay in Atlanta? And who knows if he wants to be the man in Atlanta? And let's say he goes to if he's better, if he becomes a better player than Trae Young, and says, I want this to be my team.
What has the front office done that has people so enamored with them? Like, right now, you can argue that signing RJ Barrett and signing Randle was a mistake. Locking yourself into Randle, RJ Barrett, and Mitch, you can argue was a mistake. Like, what has the front office done?
I mean, there's nothing that I could say.
They inherited the flexibility.
There's nothing that I can really say to, like, discourage you from saying that that's not true. But when you really break it down, Julius Randle, the player that he is, that's not a bad contract. When you break it down, RJ Barrett, obviously, he's having a rough start to the season. He always has a bad start to the season. At the end of the year, he gets better. RJ Barrett is not a bad contract compared to Tyler Hero, compared to you can put any other player right next to him. So it's a difficult thing to defend right now. It's difficult to defend right now, but I'm still in the position of where I like where we at. Even though we're 8-8. We've done some good things, we've done some bad things, but I can see what I said always is come to fruition, right, Steph? Like,
which part? You said a lot of things now. Which one?
I said Jalen Brunson could be an all-star.
Oh, Jalen Brunson could be an all-star.
I said Jalen Brunson could be an all-star. I said we have a chance to win 50 games. We've lost 8. We need 22 losses in the season to get to 30, right? To get to 52 and 30. And we're a better team. So, I don't know. Like, if we make a big trade, we can probably get over that hump.
Listen. All right. Okay. I mean,
it's still time, right? Like, it's
no. I mean, if you're taking that tack that there's still time for the front office to come in and hit a triple or home run, yeah. I mean, there's definitely still time. Yeah. It's just,
what's the next move in order for them to be able to do that?
Yeah. They gotta
wait for somebody to become available.
Oh wow!
They have to make a trade.
You gotta wait for somebody to become available. I mean, what?
I don't like that strategy.
Because, like I said before, having 3 picks in next year's draft, 3 first rounders. I don't even know how many second rounders we have. We're not going to draft all those players.
All right, so I'm gonna pose it to you like this, D. We already seen the change, right? Like, I posted this on Twitter. Like, the desired lineup has come in 16 games, which was Quentin Grimes at the 2. You already seen what Jericho Sims can do. He's very important to us. Deuce McBride is getting minutes because Derrick Rose is injured. These things happen during the season where you're going to be able to come in and put in these players that we really want to see. And that lineup that we saw last year, who was a great defensive lineup, we saw last game.
Mm-hmm.
Give that lineup 10 more games. We can probably win a couple of games more with that lineup. With just that defensive lineup that we probably wouldn't have won without them. So it's just patience, man. It's just patience. I know it's a hard sell. I know it's a hard sell, man, because me too. Like I wanna star. I'm with you guys. But how are we gonna get there?
Right. This was the initial question. Well, I guess you answered it. Are we underestimating this team? I'm sure you were going to say yes, right? Are we underestimating this team? Is there more potential in this team? And I have to say with this, I go back and forth. Like there's times when I'm like, if certain things break right, they can overachieve, right? If Grimes pop, if Cam, becomes, what everybody says, the talent that he has, if he lives up to that, if RJ does this, if this person does that, I could see a path forward. And then there are other times when I look at this roster and I'm like, wow, we stuck. I don't even see the path forward.
Wow.
We got to make some moves,
But I think we're playing cards, man. I think we have all the pieces. I like what I like what everybody's saying. I agree with everybody. Different takes and stuff. But I think we're holding cards right now. We're holding cards, and we just looking like, should I play it? What to do? Because we have movable pieces. ADC mentioned the defensive lineup. I think everybody agrees with that. That lineup is really good. But outside of that defensive lineup, now you're looking at other pieces that could be moved. You like the defensive lineup. Okay, cool. So take the other assets and add to that defensive lineup.
Which defensive lineup?
Well, if I speak for myself, I still like Julius. Cam Reddish, Mitch Robinson, Brunson, and Grimes. Okay, if you like those guys, okay, cool.
Grimes,
whatever is not in that lineup, you could piece together and get guys that could fit into that concept that you're trying to build there.
So
with the team.
You have Grimes and Cam started.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about, thank you. You're talking about moving off of RJ in terms of moving.
Well,
moving him. Period.
Well, it's because of the culture and the concept you're trying to build. If something's not working, then you need to find out what is working and then take everything else that's not working and find something that's going to help build what you want to happen here. Sitting and waiting like Leon Rose and these guys are doing. Let's get RJ some shots. Oh, let's wait to see if this guy's going to develop. Wait till Mitch gets healthy, see what we got. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. But, we already know what these guys are going to do. We've had them here for 2 to 4, 5 years now. Mitchell Robinson in his 5th year. So we know what we get out of certain guys. Right now, Jericho Sims might have elevated himself. So now it leaves options open for us to take some guys and try to flip your product. We're flipping product right now. Because if we stay the same the way we are, we're going to be the same. But if we change the lineup, like I said, it's still going to be the same thing. All I'm doing is moving one thing from here to there. But we need to grab stuff that we have, move it out, and see if we can flip it to bring it back. To get.
But that's the big question. Is that can what we have, like say for example, you have like an idea to what you want your roster to look like, right?
Right.
And then let's say other pieces you don't want. So let's just say RJ, for example, right? How much are you really getting back in return for RJ that's going to bring stability to your plan to continue to develop and modify?
Well, it's all relative, because we were talking about OG. How good is OG compared to RJ? We're talking about like fraction, a little bit like that. Nah. But it's
a matter of perspective.
Yeah, like I said, that is true. It's a matter of perspective. But if you trade for OG, okay, cool. You sprinkle a little bit of how much better did we get? Did we get substantially better? No, but it's the next move. And maybe the next move, draft well and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Like I keep saying,
step by step, piece by piece.
Yeah, keep it smaller. Right now, the way the things are, we cannot stay stagnant like this. Because staying stagnant, you get mosquitoes, you get rodents and stuff like that.
Malaria.
Mosquitoes and rodents is all the Knicks fans and everybody else booing and causing Dolan to step out of his seat and make do something that he shouldn't. You know,
But if you asked, I'm sure if you ask the front office, and I hear what you're saying, I've said this before, step by step, piece by piece. You're not going to go from being out of the playoffs to being a championship contender. But if you ask them, I'm sure they would say, well, Brunson is that next piece.
right.
You know, and then we still need to build and add to that. But we've made a change. You know, we brought in Brunson. You know, let's see how that goes, and then let's see what the next step is. You know, after that.
Well, let me throw this situation. Remember Phoenix, they had Marbury. You know, Marbury, they had their situation there. So they decided to make a trade, and they ended up getting Steve Nash there. You know, eventually they're getting Steve Nash there. All of a sudden, they go from being a lottery team, all of a sudden to being, 5 seconds or less. You know, D'Antoni. All of a sudden, you know, they switch things around. So you can make little subtle moves and stuff like that just to get the thing to change. Even like say Golden State before we got Steph Curry, they had Baron Davis and those guys. You know, some of those guys still made it to the Curry team, but you have to keep it smoldering. You know, even with the Knicks, I bring this up on the channel a lot. In 1989, it was the bomb squad. You know, we had a bunch of guys, Jerrell Wilkins and Mark Jackson. Everybody's like, oh, we can't trade those guys. You know, next thing you know, we get Rod Strickland. Wow, look at all these young guys. Fast forward to 1994, the only people that were on the roster from that team was Ewing and Oakley. You know, and then if you fast forward to 99, on the 99 team, the only player that was on the roster from the 80, 89 or the 94 team was Ewing. You know, so you have to keep this thing smoldering. We cannot stay one way. We have to keep it flipping. You know.
But do you think Brunson was enough of a flip for this season?
I like what he's doing, but you know, like the other pieces just really don't. We're close, man. We're talking about like little things. You know, so we're very close. I think we're so close. Like if RJ was playing up to where we think his potential should be, we wouldn't even be talking about this. I don't think. You know, things would be a little bit different. You know, so yeah.
But Avery, you said something so important though. They had Ewing. Yeah, so therefore, you could have designed that anyway aesthetically around that because and I was going to bring up another one like Giannis, for example. Giannis has seen mad rosters before they decided to get Drew Holiday and Middleton together and stuff of that nature, and Bobby Portis and all that. So I think that's part of the process, but it makes it a lot easier, and you know where you're going when you have the guy.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, we just don't have the guy. Yeah.
Right.
I think we do have the guy.
Who is that guy?
But I think that the guy that we have, we don't think that it is the guy. Like, not the guy in particular, like not the star piece, but we have the beginning of the piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the centerpiece of the puzzle, and we just need to add around the centerpiece of the puzzle to make it. Because, man, this guy.
Who's the centerpiece?
Well, this is killing me.
This guy is this guy.
That's what I'm saying. The suspense is killing me too.
This guy, no, because we've seen him. Like, this guy. Listen, Brunson has already won us about 3 to 4 games in the first 16 games. Mm-hmm. Imagine if you add an elite talent to that. You're talking about Dallas Mavericks last year. So
right.
It's the thing is, it's bad if we don't even have the Brunson. We need to add the Luka, but if you don't even have the Brunson, even if you add the Luka, we're not gonna get where we want to go. You get what I'm saying? Like, even if we have the one punch, if we don't have the 1-2 punch, we ain't going nowhere.
I see.
Well, you're going further, but you're not going to be a championship contender. You need to.
Right. He needs help. He needs help. I brought it up in the first conversations with us. Like, I'm afraid that he's going to get hurt because he's doing so much.
Yeah.
He has to do this much to get us at 8-8. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, you know, I feel for the dude. It's like, yo, to get us at 8-8, like, he's killing himself.
So you're saying that Brunson is a pillar, but we still need the guy. That's
obviously.
What you're saying.
Right,
yeah,
right.
We do.
Right.
We do. We definitely do.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement for the most part. Whether little small philosophies and preferences within each other, but I think we all speaking the same language here. We're coming down to the nitty gritty of what we need to do here. But the bottom line is that we need to do something.
Right. And then the other thing also is, and D and I have talked about this as well in terms of players being miscast. This same team could look very different when you bring in a star and move players down into different positions. Right. Obviously, some players will have to leave if you bring in a star anyway, just to make it, just to make it work. But if you're moving guys down, less usage and more subscribed, in smaller roles, the team definitely looks different. So now you have a guy that was a number 1 or number 2 being a number 3 or number 4. That's a different team, right there. But the issue becomes, who is that guy? They don't come along that often. They don't come, they don't come free, that often.
One came along a couple months ago. We just passed on it.
Right. And who's next? And this is the thing. You just gotta sit and wait. And you gotta sit and wait. You gotta sit and wait.
So here's a good question, right? Knowing how our organization has worked throughout the years, what do you think is the best way? Like, what's the best possible way, the highest percentile that we could get the guy here? As we know, free agency, via trade, and drafting.
Yikes. You want a percentage?
Well, free agency is not an issue unless we sell off some contracts. We're not gonna bring in a lot of expirings. We're not gonna have any. We're not gonna be players in free agency.
Yeah, man. It's like stars don't change hands often. Like the percentage, whatever it is low as hell.
But you can. I think to me it's equal. It's equal. Going in the lottery, hoping that you're gonna pick a star. Going into free agency, hoping somebody will being on the altar, hoping somebody is going to come and want to. We've been there where there's been players available and we've had money and they didn't even want to come.
Yeah,
my life at the bar. When
they won't come.
The money.
I gotta come see you, Eru. I just came from there by myself, man. Family. Anyway, to me, D is two things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cut and dry. To me, it's two things. Either we give up the assets to get Joel Embiid, right? Or we use the assets to get high in the draft to get a young stud. Top 10 pick. And I'm leaning towards that because my organization looks like they think like that. But I wouldn't put it past them if Joel Embiid does become available, that we would do something like that. And pair him up with Brunson and pair him up with Julius Randle. I don't think Julius Randle will be part of a. Okay, you can say that it's a little clunky, but if we on offense, because Julius Brunson has been a good presence on him, right? If we tell Julius spread out, let Embiid work a little bit, and I don't think he minds that. As long as he's winning, he's gonna do whatever he has to do. If he has to be a third fiddle, like he's a second fiddle right now. But those are the two options. Either get Joel Embiid or move up in the draft and get one of these Thompson guys. Get somebody that we can bank on for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
How old is Joel Embiid again?
28.
Yeah, I was about to say like late 20s, I would think.
Yeah. Let me read this super chat and then we can continue. Shout out to J Boogie again. Hey, appreciate you.
Steph, I don't want to interrupt you. Look at the chat. You don't have any mods, so
yeah.
Oh.
Invaders from space.
And you know what? I was in the other chat. That's why I didn't see it. I was in the star chat. That's why I didn't see it. Yeah, I'll do some mods. J Boogie Paris D, there is no other loyal, respectful people that hold down their squad when they're not up than us under this Knicks umbrella family.
Oh.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
The truth right there.
Respect.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Go ahead. Continue.
So I'm a guy where scouting, drafting, and development, 3 to 5 year plan that leads to 3 to 5 year plan that leads to 7 to 10 years of championship contention. That is where I stand. But I'm also a realist. This organization doesn't do that. And I think that the best percentile, the best route for them to go It says go over the luxury tax every year, get as many stars as you could get, as many guys that could possibly play together, bring in a coach that can manage all these egos, and just because if you get one championship out of doing 10 years of that, everybody stays quiet because you got the one championship.
Real, man.
Shout out to
I'm
Toronto.
good. I'm good for another 50.
That is true.
Like I could die. Like I get one, I could die. Like I'm good.
There you go.
Right. I mean, that's what the Lakers did. They sold off their young talent for LeBron James, and they got one. I know they thought they would be able to get more with a core of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, but it just didn't. It didn't work out that way.
True.
Paris Duggar, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Now that we got Brunson, I'm in on Bradley Beal now. See, I don't want older players. Like what Brunson is 20. See, to me, when you're bringing in older players, that shortens your window. Like for me, my preference is a young proven star. Again, they don't come along that often. When you get these guys that's 32, 33, how many years do you have to build a championship? You got like maybe 3 years.
How old Bill is?
How old is Bill? Like 30?
I
I thought it was 28 or something.
Oh, 28? All right.
Has to be around. I thought he was around late 20s, early 30s. Has to be. One thing about Bradley Beal, though, much as I
29.
like him,
29?
29.
Okay.
and
Okay,
I
not
agree.
bad, not
I
bad.
agree with Paris. I don't mind getting Bradley Beal. I just don't think he's going anywhere. I think that
Right.
ship has sailed. I think
And he has a no trade clause
Right.
He
as
makes a lot
well.
of bread too. He makes like 40
he's had multiple times that he can get out of Washington. He just didn't want to. I don't think he's leaving DC.
Right.
And I think he falls under that Donovan Mitchell umbrella. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like we want to give up certain assets for that type of player, but not what they're asking for. I think they're looking even bigger than those two guys. I think they're looking for either a 6'7" shooting guard or a, you know what I'm saying, or a big wing type OG Anunoby. Probably not give up all the stuff that Donovan Mitchell is worth, obviously, but they're looking for something like that. And if that's truth, I don't mind that. Like I need a 6'7" shooting guard. Like
But
I don't want these
yeah.
6'4" guys.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Who are
yeah.
great as they can be, but I want a 6'7" shooting guard. You know, I want a 6'9" small forward.
Eddie,
Who's
everybody want that though. They
But
like
that's
those,
what. But
they don't grow on tree. Ain't that many of those, man.
that's why they held back, though. You know what I'm saying? That's why they didn't. I don't think they gave up all that because Donovan Mitchell is a 6'3" shooting guard.
6'1".
Yeah, even shorter than that.
That's a good question.
But you're right though.
We got 3 first-round picks coming up in this draft, right? Am I correct? Yes. So?
Yes.
It's
At
not
the
promise.
moment, at
It's
the
not
moment
promise,
in
though.
time, yeah. At the moment, definitely 2. It could be 3.
Yeah, we got.
Is it possible that we could pack up those 3 first-round picks and try and see if we could get it in the top 3?
If I'm in the top 3, you're not giving me
Right.
a 9, 10, and not in this draft.
No,
Not in this draft.
The Knicks would have to be a top maybe 6, 7 lottery pick for that to even be feasible. Because then we're talking about the Knicks. Let's say the Knicks are a 6 pick, and then Dallas is a 24. And let's say, for argument's sakes, Washington just gave us their pick and they're 15. So that's 6 and 15 and 24. That can probably get you up 1 spot.
Yeah, that's the case. We definitely not doing that then because
Get up top 5, and the draft is so stacked that we don't need to do that.
It's tough though.
We can stay at 6
The
and get
only
one at a
reason why-
time.
The only reason why I said that is because I think that night I saw someone put in the chat that if you was to be in the lottery right now, our picks will be 10 and 14, right? So I'm thinking if 10 and 14 and probably another pick, I don't know, probably a player, is it possible for a top 5 pick?
That top 5 players are really good though, man. Those guys are.
Yeah, it's kind of.
But even if you get a top 10 pick, that player's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. Never know.
It could, if you pick the right guy, he could be good.
That's true.
Who's
He
the
could
right
be good.
guy? I think about all of the time that I put in over the past 2 drafts, right? And then you look at these guys that's in the league. I mean, they still have time. You know, when you look at these guys that's in the draft, you be like, wow, this guy.
But it's like what
getting
D
off the
said.
bench.
But it's like D said. It's like getting the picks now to be really good 5 years from now. Like you look in Golden State, right? They got Moody. They got what's the power forward's name?
Kuminga.
They got Kuminga. Is
Why?
he really good right now? No. But you can see that in 5 years when he's 24, he can be really good. They got Wiseman and they sent him to the G League. So it's like, yo, this is not gonna happen from today to tomorrow.
That was a special situation for Golden State, though. But I hear you. I would have wished that the Knicks last year, in this past draft, would have drafted, a player. We drafted the Moody and one. They would have been in our rotation.
Yep.
We would have drafted.
They wouldn't have been waiting 5 years to play.
What would you have said if we would have drafted Usman Dang? Like that was our pick, right?
Right. He probably.
I don't know how ready he was though, but he would have been in there with the rest of them.
But there's a lot. I liked him. Like I liked him, and like who knows he can be in 3 years.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
But it's like instant gratification type deal. You know what I'm saying? You got to be wary of that. Not everybody is. Who is the kid from Detroit playing that well? Like is he like all world right now?
No, nobody is all world from last year.
Who was the first pick this year?
Paolo Banchero.
Now he might be close to it.
Yeah,
he might be close to it.
Yeah,
he's good. Number 2 got injured, not even playing. Number 3, Jabari. I would love to have Jabari.
Yep.
He's struggling though.
Yeah, he is struggling.
But I would still love him. Like I would still love him. Like on this team, like I would still love him. And then number 4, could somebody help me out?
Keegan Murray.
I would love him on this team.
Love him.
So, but they're not. Are they like? They're not lighting it up right now. But we can see the potential in what it could be.
Shout out to Mathurin. Mathurin was drafted a little further down.
He was 6. He's gonna be six. Yeah, a little further down. You're right. 6.
And then 5, right? So I would love all those guys like on my team right now.
I want Mathurin back.
Shaden
Sharp is playing good. Yeah.
We'll see him Friday.
We'll see him on Friday. Yeah.
We talked.
Is he playing? Is he playing because of the injuries and stuff?
Yeah,
he's been playing even when they were straight. He would get like at least 14, 16 a night. Yeah.
No way.
I mean minutes.
Oh, minutes.
Yeah,
minutes. Yeah, I was like 14, 16.
No.
What? I was like, damn, he beasted, yo.
All right. Anybody else want to ask a question? Did we all go around on so to your question, D, I'm okay with step by step, piece by piece, seeing where the team is, and little by little in improving the team. I want the front office to make better decisions. I want them to utilize restricted free agency more, stop locking into players so early. Let them show you beyond a shadow of, that you can see that, all right, fine. I'll play this guy. And I want them to, they have the assets, trade for a star. I'm okay with going in the draft, but the issue with going in the draft is you got to hit on that pick. That's the only thing. You got to hit on that pick.
Yeah, we got to do it all. We hit on Mitchell Robinson. He was a second round pick, right? So,
that was like a little half a single, a little bunt. That was a bunt.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was a bunt single that turned to an error. They got the man on second.
But still, we got a starting center in the second round of the draft. You know what I'm saying? So that's lucky. But if that would have smoldered and we would have got somebody else and somebody else, if certain other guys would have hit, then it would sound a little bit.
Can you imagine? Look at all of the drafts the Knicks have been in since 2014. Had we hit on 2, 3,
I wreck my brain nightly thinking about that stuff. Like we a terrible drafters.
No, but not now. But that was those guys, man. That got us in this beautiful position. That drafted Knox and they got Mitchell, but they drafted Knox. Yeah. I forgot the Ntilikina.
Yeah, if we would have got Miles Bridges and Donovan Mitchell instead of those two guys, how different would our roster?
Sheesh.
We could have had SGA. We could have had mad people.
It was like 7 people in that draft that we could have had instead of Knox.
Yeah, and then we still had Porzingis at the time too. So if he would have hit on some of those things, maybe we would have been a lot better off.
Yeah, I ain't mad at Porzingis. Salute to Porzingis. Yo, I have a question. If I could ask the question now.
I get it, Knicks Nation. I get it, Knicks Nation 112. I got it. I get the connection. Knicks Nation both starts with a K. Kevin Knox both starts with a K. That's KK. That's what it is. That's what it is.
That's Knox Nation. That's what it is. That's
Knox Nation. What did Prince used to be on MBK say? The Knoxers.
Yeah, the Knoxers. Yeah. Yo, salute to the Prince Bun, man.
The Prince Bun. Miss you, my man.
Oh, salute, bro. And salute to everybody in the chat, man.
Yeah, thanks no doubt about it.
Yeah,
they're giving us great feedback. They're giving us great feedback.
So
no doubt.
We got 8 minutes to 11 o'clock, Steph. You know what happened after 11? Steph
getting spooky, huh?
Eddie, see, what was your question? We also drafted. Let me just ask this question real quick, so we don't go off course, because it's kind of related to this. What about the players this front office has drafted? I mean, it's going to take some time because remember, we what do you call it? Went down in the draft or traded back. We've traded back in the draft. So there's some players that we missed out on by trading back. So it remains to be seen if any of those guys turn into good players. So
who? But when it comes to that, it's like who? Like Herb Williams, like Herb Jones.
We will see. I mean, it's too early to tell.
When it came to the Grimes draft, I didn't mind it. Like who was in front of him? The guy from Texas, Jalen Johnson.
Boneside. Sorry, he was after. Sorry.
That was the next one.
That was Obi.
Obi. That one looks looking suspect right now.
The only suspect to me is
I like Obi, dog.
Is Uncle Fulio's twin. That's the only one that's
Trevor Kills.
Yeah.
Oh. Man, I didn't told y'all about Trevor Kills.
But 6'4", you got him in the second round. It's a project.
Yeah, but we could have went somewhere else. We could have went somewhere else.
It's kind of like Deshaun Nix from Houston, right? Like a 6'4" big body guard. Those are projects. Second rounders are usually like that.
But we had a 11th pick, and we came out of that draft. All right, with Kills.
All right. Okay, my question is this: do we have the cojones to start Grimes at the 2 and Cam at the 3?
No.
RJ on the bench.
That's
that.
I talked about that already.
Said that earlier?
Yeah, in another show. It was another show.
No, but you mentioned it earlier.
Shoot, I would do it. I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, the fans are doing it good, but the coach ain't doing it.
No way.
There's no way Tom is doing that unless RJ is playing like dog water, like real trash.
He doesn't even have to play like trash. But it's just
that's the only way. But that's the only way you're gonna get benched and put on the bench and even out of the rotation.
I feel so, you, but it's not even to me, right? Like if I'm Leon and I'm like, yo, you're not getting benched, you getting Lamar Odom. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, when Lamar Odom
benching up, like
Lamar Odom became the sixth man. When Lamar Odom became that dude, that Laker team was it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If and I would do it, man. Like
Lamar Odom was like 30 when he did that, though.
Right.
And it's the other side of the spectrum. He's 22. He's young enough to be able to take that and be like, yo, you gotta play better because Cam is winning this situation because he's playing this type of defense. It's not because he's better than you offensively.
That is the coolest
It's
story
because
ever.
it's
not gonna
because it's
happen.
because he's 6'9", and him and Grimes is a dynamic duo on the defensive end that we're not gonna be able to have if you stay on this first unit.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I mean, I said that I wouldn't see it as a demotion. I would just be doing it for defense, for defensive
It's not a
purposes.
demotion as a player, it's a promotion as a team.
No,
Everybody
I hear you.
but
I hear you.
RJ is going to think of that as not a demotion. RJ is going to think of that as a demotion.
So stop getting sick.
But
You know what
now,
I'm saying? Drink some orange juice. Like, yo, stop doing what you're doing because you be getting sick
Word.
and you be playing like trash. And Cam, even though Cam got injured right now and Grimes showed what he can do, that's my boy. Grimes is my player on this whole squad. Grimes is my player. Cam, and we talked about this before, right, Steph? We were ready to ship him out. And Cam showed me that even if he sucks on offense, he does something to me on defense. and I know you laughing, Jerrell, because we talked about this, right?
Yep.
But on defense, when he's playing at that point of attack, he's special.
Yep.
And then imagine it.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish your point, sir.
That he's special at the point of attack, and you imagine him being at the point of attack and still having Grimes in the perimeter.
Here's the thing, Eddie. Is the front office going to be down with that because they just signed him?
The front office, I don't know, but we benched Fournier and we still got him for 2 years.
The front office,
40, 30.
Yeah,
right. And you didn't just sign him to an extension.
He still has 1 more year. It's not like even after this year, he still has to stay with us 1 more year. So that was a pretty tough. It took us 2 years to get to that point.
Well, I don't think he deserved it last year.
No.
To be out of the rotation?
No, not last year.
I would have done it last year. I would have done it last year because we already know what it is. But yeah, I don't get paid millions of dollars to make that decision.
They pulled Ahmad Rashad out of retirement. He was sitting on his couch and they said, "Hey, come in and interview RJ Barrett." You know what I'm saying? So that's what the Knicks did of RJ.
They put the inside stuff for RJ.
They put the inside stuff.
When was that? I must have missed that. Was that recent?
Today.
That was
that was today.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was today.
Didn't I see something today, like a month ago with Ahmad Rashad as well?
That was Jalen Brunson.
Wow.
The first one was Jalen Brunson, and then he had RJ today.
Yeah, RJ got a new interview out there for everybody who haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it.
What was it on MSG Networks?
Yeah, it's right. It's on the Knicks website.
Yeah, I caught it on Twitter. You know how that go. I just clicked the link.
Is it long?
About 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's not that long.
I saw it on YouTube, but
what are they talking about? What is it that
Monica
this is not the time.
Interview. Okay,
This is not the time for an interview, Barrett.
They were talking about they were talking about him becoming a Knick and the people embracing him. And
sounds like some grandfather.
You see him and his grandfather used to watch the games and.
It was fluff. It was fluff.
Yeah, fluff is delicious. But,
I would have rather somebody interview Jericho Sims. And his mysterious
yeah, he'd be shaking his head.
Yeah, he just be.
But that's why to me that's why he's like so like. You saw what he did when he defended that at the end of the game when he defended a Jamal Murray.
I love Sims.
That was that won the game.
I think Sims should start, but that's a different conversation.
I would ship Mitchell Robinson in a heartbeat.
See,
$60
ADC is my kindred spirit, man. Me and you speak the same love language, man.
Word.
Get out of here. Get RJ up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Let's make it happen.
Nah, that's the front office made their decisions. We gotta
stick with it.
We kind of stuck for a little bit. You can't move RJ anyway. it's going to take a lot of creativity to move that contract at this point.
But Mitchell, you can.
December 15th, I want to say.
Something like that. Yeah, soon.
Yeah, counting
He's shown that he's good enough for him to play with Charlotte. He's shown he's good enough to.
Well, how can he be good enough to play with Charlotte, but he's not? The Knicks
No,
ain't a
I'm
great
talking about.
team.
No, I'm talking about like
enough
you
to
can
play
get
with
like you can
Charlotte.
get back and like assets for him. Like he's good enough to play in Golden State. You know what I'm saying? He's good enough to play in those places where you need somebody like that, and still you could get something back.
Why the
Also,
hold
too,
up? The Knicks, if he could play for Golden State, he could play for the Knicks.
We can, but we have somebody who does the same thing as him. Like we have a double, so we're able to ship him off and not miss a beat.
Who's his double?
I don't think Sims
Jerrell.
is as good a rim protector as Mitchell Robinson. Like when you break down defense, you got to keep in mind there's different aspects to defense. So you can't just look at Jericho Sims' pick and roll defense and say, "Oh, his pick and roll defense is really good." Right. But there's more than defense than just pick and roll defense. That's just one aspect of playing defense.
Right. You're right. But you can also say that you can't say that Mitchell Robinson is better than him defending the perimeter, and you can also say, which is my favorite point, you can't also say that when Jericho Sims is out there, there's more confidence in the team. The team seems different when he's out there. His demeanor, the way he plays, just let everybody else's calm down. And sometimes that's something that doesn't show in the stat sheet, but that's something that you just feel. And when he's out there,
and how much you paying for that feeling?
He's getting money. He's not getting that much money.
I mean,
you should know that, Steph, because you play basketball. You should know that.
I get that, but I think for me, it's about results. What are you doing on the court that I can tend? I get the intangibles, and I think that's good.
These are the results, Steph. When we went on this West Coast road trip, I think the majority of the reason why we went 3-2 was because of Jericho Sims at the 5.
Oh my God! All right, okay.
Yeah, but
if I'm wrong,
I'm not saying he didn't play his. I didn't say he didn't play a point. I'm not saying he didn't play a part in it. He definitely did his part, but I'm not going to sit here and say the majority of the reason we went 3-2 is because of Jericho Sims. I'm not ready to say that.
But listen, it's still the same 9-9. So Mitchell Robinson coming here, we still whack, and Jericho Sims in here, we still whack too. So Mitchell Robinson don't make us unwhack. He just makes us the same whack.
I mean, I saw in an article that Charlotte may look to go after him.
So you ain't gotta go so far. Me and ADC will pack him up in the trunk right now.
Charlotte not that far, bro. Like I could drive him myself if depending on. Sorry, I'm just
Jerrell, you know you would ship him out in a heartbeat. You know you would ship him out in a heartbeat. You don't like Mitch from day one, so it ain't nothing special with that.
It's not liking him, but if you can get a wing. Like, okay, let's break down Charlotte. Like, what does Charlotte have to offer? A first-round pick?
We got enough first-round picks. I don't need another roll of toilet paper. We got enough first-round picks. We need something else.
In the article, they was talking about Gordon Hayward. No, Gordon Hayward.
Nah, I don't want no Gordon.
Nah.
Just as far as depth. That's what they were saying. Don't kill me. I didn't say that I wanted him. I'm just saying what the article said, right? So they would be trading Mitch for Gordon Hayward. You know, Charlotte would get the big man as they wanted because they're missing Lob City and they need a rebounder. They don't have no big man. And I guess we would get like a borderline star, as they would say, in Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward is like 32 going on 36. You know, I'm good. I'm good with
you got a strong hairline. You got a strong hairline, Gordon Hayward.
I'm good with Gordon Hayward.
Back to Mitchell Robinson though. Back to Mitchell Robinson. Him and Jericho Sims are averaging the same stats.
You know what it was?
In a smaller sample size, though.
Sims is shooting better from the free throw line. Lord help me.
We overpaid Mitch. I think that's the big issue there. where, for example, like Robert Williams III, which I think personally is a better center in this league, he's making $5 million less than him this year.
Right.
And I think if he was a little bit at a lower price tag, I don't think we would have so much gripes with Mitch personally.
Mitchell is getting 5 less than Robert.
No, Robert's getting 5 less.
Rob is getting 5 less.
Yeah.
I was a Robert Williams fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sound like a Mitch hater because I like him too, but I like Rob Williams too.
I like him too. He needs to groom himself a little bit better, but he's cool. He's all right, you know. But I'm saying we already got Jerrell Sims, so I feel like $17 million. I mean, the salary goes down. It goes down to 12, which is good. But I'm saying we can allocate that money into a different position because we're not that good that we can have $17 million just chilling in the census spot, backed up by another guy that's making 7. We're not that good for to have that.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I want to see more of Sims. I get you. I do like his activity. I like his pick and roll defense. I like his rebounding as well. But let it play out. Let it play out.
It looks crazy making all these signings and then trading them. And especially if you're not getting a star or star caliber type of player back in return for it, which I don't think any of these players we've mentioned would get that back unless if we give a whole bunch of draft capital with it. So, and then you got to ask, well, then how are you going to maneuver that when that guy comes and build that roster? That's the thing. Like I was trying to explain with the Donovan Mitchell thing. You bring Donovan Mitchell here, right? You still got to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years to really build a real team around him in order to really, truly compete. So for that, just go the draft route and call it a day. Yeah.
But you know what? Had we got Donovan Mitchell, we wouldn't. A lot of the guys that's on this team would have still been on this team, but in lesser roles. You wouldn't have gave up Randle in this in that trade. You wouldn't have gave up Cam in that trade. You wouldn't have gave up Mitchell Robinson in that trade. You wouldn't have gave up Hartenstein in that trade. You wouldn't have gave up McBride in that trade. You wouldn't have gave up Rose in that trade. You would have still had a lot of this, pretty much a lot of the players that's on this team right now would have still been on that team with Donovan Mitchell, and they would have been in lesser roles. Now, between RJ, Grimes, Obi, and Quick, some of those players would have went. I would have think if RJ went, less of them would have went. If you kept RJ, more of them would have went. But you would have had a lot of players still left on this team.
And I hear you, but where was that going to take you?
You never know, because we talk all the time about right now, if you have a star on the team and you're moving Randle down to 3, or if RJ is still on the team and you moving them down to 4, that's more where they should be. They're taking less shots. They're in, their roles is smaller. Less mistakes. The mistakes that, they're not going to even have the ball enough time to make the glaring mistakes that they're having now. So it could look much different. It could have looked much different, And when you think about the Knicks, they're not trying to go through the draft. They have gone through the draft. They've hit. They might be back there this year too. They might be back there. That might not have been their plan, but they might be back there as well.
By that frame of logic, Steph, just get a star as soon as possible and do everything possible in order to do it. Since most likely you're not going to develop through the draft anyway. Right. Take a shot. You got nothing to lose.
The problem with the Knicks is overlapping. Like, we have too many of the players that do the same thing. Yeah. Even Obi Toppin said it, and we've been saying it for how many years. When he was doing like a little MSG interview, and he says, RJ Barrett is a baby Julius Randle.
Yes, he said that in the Black Panther segment they were talking about.
Wow. And that was just playing around, right?
Wow.
And that was just playing around, but in real life, that don't work.
Right.
That in real life, that don't work for the team.
That's what Freezy called them.
You can't have
forward
a
at
baby,
the 2 position.
Like, you can't have Mitchell Robinson and then have a baby Mitchell Robinson with Jericho.
Yeah. If you look at their highlights, they're basically the same, except that Julius is just hitting the shots and RJ isn't.
Because he's been in the league for 10 years or something. Right?
That don't matter, bro.
So
the man just ain't hitting his shots. I don't think it's how many years you're in the league.
Yeah, he's been hitting them here and there. Like his percentage from 3-point is garbage.
Yeah.
Julius. It just looks like because I don't know.
Well, it's
I don't know.
it's up a few percentage points from last season. But if he never takes another 3-point shot, I'm good with that.
What is it? 33?
Yeah, 33. He looks much better this season going downhill really quick.
And that was
tighter.
And that was that game that he hit like 8 for 10. That really propped up that 3-point percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we know he's not a good 3-point shooter. You got to shoot him to keep him honest, but you ain't got to take 6.
Right, you don't have to take 6. You take that shot. You keep on pissing Queen off.
Right, but he's and that's fine. You got to take him because if not, if they know you're not going to take him, they know all you're going to do is go to the rim. They're going to crowd in the key and make it difficult for you. So you have to keep the defense honest, but you don't have to jack up a 3 early in the shot clock. But I like the fact that there's earlier recognition, at times that it's not falling, and I need to start going to,
and something just popped up in my head, but I don't even want to say it because it's just gonna open up a can of worms. I'll leave it for another.
Let me read your mind. You want to get Isaiah Thomas back here to blow this thing up? Trade all.
Nah. It wasn't that.
It wasn't that. Clock. It's the time, bro. This is.
It wasn't that. It wasn't that, and I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna wait for another opportunity to say it because I could see it. But what I wanted to ask now is what you guys think of the NBA teams trying to purge IQ from us right now.
What they're giving up. For any player on this team, what are you giving up?
I would trade anything. I would trade a coach. I would trade Leon Rose if it meant us getting something in
any
return.
Any player on this team can go for the right price.
This is the only player I want to keep on the roster right there.
Number 18.
Number 18, sitting on the bench, Mr. Eru.
I would like to see what D thinks.
What's up?
About like losing IQ, even if you get in the first round pick back, or you get in.
If you're getting a pick back, you do that in a heartbeat. But like Steph said, it really depends what value you're getting back in return. And Emmanuel Quickley, although he still has potential in this league, he has been on and off, and he has been night and day and Jekyll and Hyde with his play throughout his career. So I put myself in the mind of another NBA exec, and I think I'm not giving up too much to acquire him personally.
Yeah, so let's say like if it's Memphis Grizzlies that's giving you a 26th round pick.
A 26?
26 round
pick. A 26 round pick?
You know what I mean?
Or
a
26
pick? Like a first round?
Yeah.
Yeah, you take that.
I mean, IQ was the 25th.
You take that?
So, I mean,
it depends on the draft.
You wouldn't.
On the draft. If this is a strong, is it that deep? Is it 26 deep?
I don't know if it's 26 deep, but it's like top 20 deep.
So far.
And then you give him to Memphis. Like you got to even play defense on that too, right? Like you really giving him to Memphis.
What do you mean you got to play defense? Quickley is on self-check a lot of times. Quickley does not in terms of defense.
I love you, Steph, man. I love you, Steph, but sometimes we don't think in the same.
We don't, and it's okay. It's okay.
Eru, we dance, man.
It's okay. I think that
it's like a bumblebee around me, man.
I think as far as IQ's defense is concerned, I love the fact that he's a very good perimeter defense. And if he was to hit his shot, he would actually be a two-way player. It wouldn't even be the potential, like Jerrell said in the chat. Was it this morning? He said it's more than form to be a good shooter. You got to actually shoot the ball and have the stats, and he doesn't have that. But if he was a two-way player, where he was scoring consistently on all three levels, or even just scoring consistently from the 3-point line and defending then he could be a 3-and-D player. Right. But right now he's shooting 30-something% overall from the field, even worse from the 3-point line. Like you know,
I just be playing defense in the sense that I wouldn't give him to Memphis because I know what that can be with Ja. Like if Trey Jones, Tyrese Jones is the backup point.
Tyrese Jones.
Tyrese Jones.
If he can be this type of player in that system, I can imagine Emmanuel Quickley being that type of player in that system. And the reason how I play defense is like we play fantasy, right? We play basketball fantasy, but football fantasy is where it's at, right? So let's say that you going into Sunday night's game, and I'm just putting this in example. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, I mean, I guess you don't. If we're going into Sunday night's game, and suddenly your player gets injured, and there's somebody on your team that you can pick up to appease that option, I'm gonna pick him up just for you, for you not to get him.
That makes sense.
Even though I don't need him, I'm just not letting you get Kadarius Toney because Scatling is out. Juju is out, and Toney is the only one available. I'm not letting you get that guy, so I'm gonna take him before you get him, and I'm gonna put him on my bench because if you get him, he'll probably pop on your team. So that's when I say I play defense. I would get. I would. It depends on what the package is. But I'm not trading them to Memphis for a 26 pick.
But why are you playing defense with somebody in another conference?
Yeah,
like I'm playing defense with Brooklyn, or I might play defense with. Why are you playing defense with Memphis?
Because when we played them, the first team is like we're in the same division. When we played them the first game, is like we playing against our brother, and they always wax us.
But we only play them twice a year, though.
Yeah, we don't really have a rivalry with them.
I feel like
I'm not trying to keep them away from Memphis.
I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you guys feel like we do, but I feel like I have a rivalry with Memphis because of Ja Morant and RJ.
Yeah, that's why a lot of fans think that it's a rivalry because of those two.
And we took them, and they're one of the best teams in the NBA. In the first game, we took them to overtime in their house.
Nah.
And next week we playing them in our house.
Nah. I hear you. I don't think it's a rivalry though. But I hear you.
I heard his Portland was trying to get IQ though.
Who?
Portland.
Portland.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard they want him bad.
Yeah, what they giving up to?
Well,
who they giving up? Nasir Little.
I don't know.
Damn, Nasir Little. No, hell no. I don't want no.
That's
I'm a Tar Heel fan, so I know I don't want Nasir Little, yo. No. No.
He would be a good backup power forward, though, to add a little bit.
We have a backup power forward.
Nah, we need a defensive power.
What's his name?
Little.
We need a defensive power forward.
What's his name?
Us as fans, we think that the pool of players to pick from is just on the Knicks. Is Randle or Obi or is Cam or this person? It's like there's a whole. The NBA is full of players. You could pick players off of this team, or trade players, off of this team. We need a defensive power forward.
I think a lot of people are just enamored with players that we've drafted stuff. That's all.
If people think that Obi Toppin is freaking Amari Stoudemire, people still saying that. They're so far away from the truth. I mean,
he played more like Damon Stoudemire than Amari Stoudemire.
Hey, Damon was a beast his first couple.
He was.
Damon kind of plays like Brunson, right? Damon and Brunson are like the same type of player, right?
Yeah, I call him Scrappy Doo.
Makes sense. That makes sense, Eddie.
Yeah, Mighty Mouse versus Scrappy Doo.
Scrappy Doo.
All right. Anything else? Anybody wants to?
I'm sure the chat has a lot of stuff to say. I ain't check them yet.
Okay.
I'm sure they got questions and stuff. They always do, especially after 11.
Omega. We need defensive-minded dogs.
Well, yeah.
We can score. We need stop. Isn't that something? And 2 years ago, we can defend, and we couldn't. We couldn't score. Yeah. We couldn't score the ball. I think I prefer that than what I'm seeing it was
that was
like
hard to watch. Steph.
it was hard to watch. It
That
was
hard to
it was
watch,
hard
man.
to watch. It was hard.
That's hard to watch.
We just going in circles, with
Right.
the defense, the offense.
Nah, but our defense problems is about effort. The offensive part was about talent. Like I would rather have the talent. Hopefully, you will get people that's talented that will show effort too. So
That they're gonna buy in.
right, that's it. Like
Next
RJ
nation.
can't play defense if he wanted to. It's the effort part.
Listen.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Steph, don't do it.
You think it's effort with RJ? I don't know if it's effort with RJ. I think he's trying.
I think it's
his lateral quickness has just gotten slower. Yeah, I think it's physical.
I think it's physical with RJ, and I'm gonna say the reason why it's physical is because of his high hips. His high hips don't let him get.
This is Gmo now. This is Gmo cousin. Go ahead.
I just think that that like he doesn't the same way I thought about D'Angelo Russell's gait when he came into the NBA. Like I just thought that his gait wouldn't allow him to be able to be a good defensive player, even though he has special offensive skills. And I'm just meticulous like that. Like I look at things like that. Like I look at people's gait. When it comes to RJ, his high hips doesn't allow him to do certain things. So I look at it like that. And people say that he's a good defensive player. I don't think so, man.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, I was saying that the other day, right? Jerrell, with the measuring tape, measuring his shins. I want to measure RJ's shins because something's wrong with the physics of his body, man. And something's weird going on there with RJ.
Yeah. And when I was talking about effort and stuff, I'm talking about like closeouts and stuff like that. I never thought that RJ was a lockdown defender, but he was definitely better than he is now. Right. That's all.
I actually question his defensive IQ as like a whole, like as far as like he doesn't know like when to help him recover sometimes. Like he goes too deep like on rotations, he seems lost. Transition defense, he's lost a lot and stuff like that. So I also question those things too.
To be honest though, this year that's damn near the whole team except for like 3 players.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Like I don't know what happened. Like our defense was way better than it was last year, and we had Evan Fournier on the team.
Yeah. No, the defense last year was better. You mean?
Yeah.
And we had Evan Forward. Yeah, yep. That's true. Knicks Nation 12 IQ elsewhere would look a lot different. I believe his stats and his contributions to winning would be higher than it is with us. Okay.
So let's get that first round pick. That's
right. And Negro 1 IQ is a bad shot taker, doesn't know how to play off the ball effectively, needs to dribble, set, then shoot, or he isn't comfortable.
You know what's crazy? We like our players are so inconsistent that everybody's right.
Yeah, depending on which day you watching them.
It doesn't matter what you type in the chat right now. You're probably right, and we can vibe off of it.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. That everything that everybody's saying.
Right.
Good.
IQ is a 10th to 15th pick worthy. Kerry Cox.
True.
Canal Band Lawyer. IQ was a Chuck.
True.
Sherwin, if IQ will be more of a team offensive player, he will be my favorite. IQ is a selfish nut. I don't think he's selfish, though.
That's half true, though.
You think so?
At one point. Yeah, there's some truth to that.
You think he's selfish, or you think he's just overconfident in himself and he feels like I can get this basket, I can get us back in the game?
I just don't think that he's an IQ distributor. Like you can see sometimes where Obi Toppin tells him, "Yo, if you would have passed me the ball, I would have gave it right back to you." And that's the difference between Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is a high IQ offensive player. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't know how to put it all together because of his position, where he's a power forward. But that's the truth. I do that when I play ball. Like if I see somebody, like I'm not the best player, but if you give me the ball and I give it right back to you, you'll be in a better position offensively to do what you have to do. All you have to do is give me the ball and I'll give it right back to you.
Hopefully not in the same spot, but I get you.
But it doesn't even. Sometimes it doesn't even matter. It's just get the defensive player off tilt because you gave the ball up. Now when you receive the ball again, it's not. He's not in the same defensive position.
Right.
His mindset already
Gotcha.
left because you gave up the ball and now you're getting it back and now you doing your thing and in his mind, depending on who he is, maybe somewhere else. It's just simple basketball, guys. Like, those are simple things.
Right.
Yeah, I think the whole roster's like that. Julius Randle plays like the ball's not going to come back to him. RJ's the same way. Move the ball, and then you move the ball, and then you move, and the ball might find you again.
Move your body, move your ball.
You said
no
that
doubt.
people think that Obi Toppin is Damon Stoudemire. Yo, I swear to my mother.
Amari.
If Obi, yeah.
Damon too.
Oh, I said Damon. My bad. If I swear to God, if he would have been playing with D'Antoni back in the day, he would have been Amari Stoudemire.
He would have been Sean Marion, I think.
Sean Marion.
He can be that too, but he would have been those type of players because he is that. It's just that the system is not built for him to be like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and it's never going to be built for him to be like that.
I honestly do agree with that. Like, much as Obi struggles sometimes, it depends on the system that he can be way more successful than he is now.
If he's in Houston, he's a much better basketball player. If he's in Sacramento, he's a much better basketball player. If he was playing back in the day in Phoenix, he would be a much better basketball player. If he's in a lot of systems, he's a much better basketball player. So we have to also account for that and say, even though that he's not playing as he should in this system, he's worth this much.
Yeah.
He would be a much better basketball player, or he would be statistically better.
If he's playing with Indiana Pacers right now, the Indiana Pacers love Obi Toppin. The Indiana Pacers would do anything to get Obi Toppin and Tyrese Halliburton on the same team at this point in time. I know they love him.
Yeah. Would you do it for Duarte? I was thinking about that earlier. Obi Toppin for Duarte.
Ooh, now you're talking my language.
So many wings.
I'm a Dominican. I'm from New York City, guy. Like, the Dominican, Puerto Ricans, we all live together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And that's. It would
but
be
we
tough.
talking basketball.
It would be tough.
Play basketball.
But it don't. But the reason why Duarte is so good and he's old as hell, right? And the reason why he's so good is because he is Dominican and he knows that this is his only shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about being.
He ain't built to. He's not a player that's been babied his career. Like, he knows that this is it. Like, he has to strive to be the best basketball player he can be.
But is he all right? I mean, no disrespect. I mean, he's okay, but right now,
I know. I'll be taking it other places. I know.
Yeah, right now, Mathurin is the guy on that team and over Duarte, right? Duarte.
You gotta give me, and just because of that, you gotta give me Duarte and something else. But I still love Duarte.
Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
Steph, thank you for having me on. Peace to the panel. Peace to the chat. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy your holidays as well. Everybody be safe.
All right.
Good night, bro.
All right. Yeah. Good night.
I will have to do the same also too, Queen. I gotta go. I gotta get up early in the morning also too.
Well, let's just close it out. Any last words?
Let's get this one on Friday. You know what I mean? Got
right. We didn't even talk about the game.
Yeah, we got Portland coming in. I don't think Dame playing. So let's go out, hustle, do the little small things, rebound, less turnovers, and protect home court, man. Let's get it. Go Knicks. And enjoy your vacation, Queen.
Why is that Obi is a entertainer? He's a globetrotter. That is crazy.
It makes that's
he's
not
an M1 mixtape player.
I'm about to say put it on the screen so I can say true. Like, it's a little bit truth to that too. Yep, true. A little bit truth to that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did want to say that I'm gonna do my best. So I'm leaving Saturday I'll be out of the country for 2 weeks. I'm gonna try to still do the show. I think when we do a show at 9 o'clock, it's going to be like 2 in the morning. I'm going to be up because of just the time difference. It takes some time to kind of get used to the time difference. So if I am up,
Qatar?
No, Ghana. So if I'm up, I would like to do the show. If not, I'll do a community post if I'm unable to do it. But for right now, I'm hoping that I am able to do it.
At least do a recording. I think that would be dope. Live from Ghana. Way. I like that, man. That sounds like a good idea.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't have to be live.
That'd be fire.
Yeah, I mean, I still gotta do the morning recap shows. Those I'm gonna do on video because when it's 8 or 9 o'clock here, it's 1, 2 o'clock in Ghana, and I'm gonna be out and about. So I'll do those on video, my takes on the games, and I'll post those. But I would like to go live, so we'll see. We'll see.
Are you is it Guyanese the way you say it?
Oh no, I'm American.
Oh, yes, okay. That just be out.
Yeah. I got family in Ghana, so that actually moved out to Ghana. So I'm just gonna go visit.
Oh, you got some Americans that just moved to Ghana? That's dope.
A lot of people do that since the pandemic. They've been just relocating their business or whatever they do, and they just go overseas and live a great life. That's nice. Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go visit. All right, family. We are out of here. Shout out to J Boogie and his new video and album that he's about to drop.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say one last thing. One last word.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that Grimes is back because that means that we can put Grimes on Simmons on Friday, and I want to see that matchup. And if all goes well, we'll get the W because of that. Grimes against Simmons.
Speaking of which, that's one thing that was weird too. The whole Grimes thing from preseason to now makes no sense to me. But yeah, we didn't talk about that. I forgot about that. It made absolutely no sense how they brought him along with that injury at all.
Right.
Yeah, I guess you got to be in the room, really.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like he went from not playing at all to starting one game and only playing like a few minutes and then not playing at all again. And now all of a sudden he's the man. Like how did that happen?
Right. I mean, I think the injuries to Cam and Rose opened that door.
Because he's the man.
Proud Papa Staffer in the building.
I just want to say, Staffer, me and you arguing about Grimes and Cam is over, bro. It's over.
Proud Papa.
I want to both to play.
All right, fam. We out of here. I appreciate everybody in the chat for rocking with us. We had a full panel, so we didn't get a chance to get to as many comments as I usually do. But I appreciate you all. You guys are part of the show. You guys make the show. Until next time.
Peace, Knicks family. Peace.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you turn. Don't so.
Where you at?
Don't so.